Hey guys, this is David Graham. I am the founder and CEO of Code Ninjas. I appreciate you guys taking the time to join us today on the call. We've had an exciting year and a happy holiday season because we have recently hit a very epic milestone in our growth and as a company. We recently went over 100 units sold in the United States, which is extraordinary. We've done that in about 9 months of really hard work and dedication to finding the right franchisees and putting processes in place to support those franchisees and building a team that is dedicated to this company. One of the coolest things as a founder is going to work every day and getting here early, staying late, as founders do, but recognizing that the people around me are doing the same thing. And it's not because I'm around here cracking the whip or something. This is because the people who work for us very much love what they're doing. They see that what we're doing is special. They see that every single day they come to work, they make a difference. And, on this call today, I'd like to thank our staff because they really are one of the most dedicated sets of people that I've ever known. We're very, very fortunate to work with them as a franchise. It comes together, the right people, the right product, and the right time, as Marty says all the time, and that's true. So let's talk about how those people came together a little bit today. We're going to talk about where we're going. I do want to talk about a little bit of success that we had already coming out of a couple of our openings that happened recently. Shreveport, Louisiana opened early last week, and they've been doing about 4 or 5 tours every day and converting, at a very high percentage. I don't know it off the top of my head, but probably over 50% of their tours are becoming students. And then our biggest success story is that Fort Mill, South Carolina, has already broken our pre-sale record, and they still have 2 weeks to go. So they are really killing it over there. And I think that just goes into saying, kind of proof. It's validation, again, that what we've done, the process that we put together, the training that we put together for our franchisees to follow, the 16 weeks of marketing leading up to the grand opening event. Every little detail that we've done has been with mindset to make our franchisees successful from the get-go. And right now, this is validation time. We're looking at people who were not necessarily franchisees before or business people before, really, really able to take our idea and our concept and our brand and run with it in their local markets. That's an exciting time. We should have about 4 or 5 more coming online here in the next couple of weeks. The holiday is not going to slow any of us down. They're excited to get open. But in January, we'll have about 20 more open. February opens about 13 or 14 more. So we have 52 franchisees right now, so if each one of them takes 6 months to open, by June we'll have 50 open. We're really dedicated to the idea of opening 100 all of next year, so we're right on track to do that, and we're excited about that opportunity. That will put us squarely in the category of one of the fastest growing child-based franchises of all time. We're looking for some real metrics on it, but it might be that we're one of the fastest growing franchises in our price category of all time, which is exciting for us. We see a lot of different people in a lot of different phases, and we're learning a lot. And our franchisees are giving us feedback. We're changing and really working out some of the kinks. And I'd like to also thank our franchisees for being great. I mean, they get it too. So what they're doing right now is giving us that positive feedback and then, constructive criticism as well. And we're taking that and running with it and making the program better and better every single day. So I'd like to say thanks to our franchisees that are really putting it to work right now. So let's talk about where we started and why we started it. We started Code Ninjas under the premise that in today's world, in the after-school program specifically, there is nowhere for kids to go with a dedicated resource for learning in-depth programming knowledge. I was a software engineer for over 20 years. I know, and I was a programmer of sorts for most of my life. My dad, fortunately, I was able to have a computer very early, and my dad bought me a Commodore VIC-20 when I was about 5 years old. I can still remember unwrapping it for Christmas and just thinking it was the most amazing thing. And so I was introduced at a very young age, just like our students are, to programming. And I can tell you it changed the way I saw it. And so whenever I was addressing that concept and how could we bring this to market, I wanted to make sure that we did it in a way that kept the kids' imagination going, that kept the kids engaged. And the best way to do that with kids is through gamification. And so we could just let them play games, and that would have probably kept kids' imagination and held their attention for a few months. But we really believe in this concept that they build their own games, that they're able to take it to that next level, and really the sky is the limit. When you're in the classroom with those kids and they're building the craziest idea that you've never even dreamed of, but you see the biggest smile on their face and they learn the concept that they were supposed to learn, you know you've really got something special. You're hitting like the magic jackpot in education. And it's happening every single day at our centers now. And so that's where we came up with the concept that kids have fun and parents see results. So on the flip side of that, you know, kids are going to have fun every single day they come to Code Ninjas. On the flip side of that, parents see results is a big part of that because the parents are paying the bill. The parents have to see that they're not just in there having fun and games, that that the games are getting more complex, that they have a path that is actual and it's not just arbitrary, that the lessons that they're learning in each one of the games that they're building are building upon each other to get better and better. And so we've built a parent portal that will go out next month that does exactly that. Every lesson will be tied to a description for the parent to go in and see how that material relates to the path that their kid is on. And they can play the game that the kid built in that context. And they can see the complexity is getting harder. And so we take that very seriously. Another thing that we did to make sure that parents are well taken care of is that we gave them a big, spacious lobby with comfortable couches, with free Wi-Fi, free coffee, free waters if they want it. Then we also gave them a TV to watch, but it's a quiet space. You know, at first we were putting on music in there, and then parents were really just wanting that 55 minutes of quiet time to themselves. They come in with their headphones and read a book, or maybe they set up their laptop and finish up some work for the day. But, I mean, I joke. It sounds like I'm joking about this, but I'm not. More than, once a week we hear, this is the best 55 minutes of my day. Like, I don't have another 55 minutes where I don't have anybody distracting me in a quiet space, and I get, either just to spend some time by myself or finish up some emails or whatever they want to do. It's just their kind of free time. In fact, some of the parents take the time to exercise. They'll run around they'll go in their jogging outfit and run around the building for the hour. It's just, we want to make sure that we take good care of them because that's part of our parent acquisition and retention model. And it's working. Our retention is extremely high. In fact, I was talking with Shauna the other day, and some of our students are right on track moving into Greenbelt this next month. And it's exciting because, that was one of the first students we signed up way back in March. And he's right on track. He's going into Greenbelt, and he should be finishing that up in March. And then he'll be in the intermediates. So our students are proof positive that this is working, that they're pacing themselves, they're still having fun, and they still want to keep coming back. Before we had, the hurricane, we did refund quite a bit of money for the hurricane victims in our area just because we want to be a part of our community. But before that happened, we had a very, very low rate of kids leaving our centers. Probably less than 5% of the kids that joined left the center. And now that we're kind of kicking back from the hurricane, we're seeing that that's planning out again. So our retention rate is extremely high, and that goes back to just defining what we wanted to be. We want to be a fun place for edutainment events where kids can come in, learn at their own pace, and then parents can see those results over time, and it's working. So let me explain a little bit about the 3 different programs that we have. So the first program that we have is the drop-in program. That's the only one that is actually required through Code Ninjas. The drop-in program is 9 different belts. Each belt builds upon each other. By the end of the belts, they're going to be able to hopefully put a app in the App Store. That's probably going to be the Android App Store because the other app stores have a little bit of higher burden to get in as far as payment and sign-ups and whatnot. But we hope to have some app in the App Store, or at least packaged for it. At the beginning, though, they're starting out in Scratch, something they're very familiar with. The white belt is meant to be a gimme almost. It's supposed to be just paint by numbers, fun, exciting, give them an easy win, get them in there having fun, building tacos raining from the sky with cats all over the place. Just whatever they dream up, they really can build as long as within the kind of definitions of our curriculum. And that program, the drop-in program, is exciting because it kind of hits all the sweet spots for parents too. Well, as a parent, if you've ever had to be the taxi service for your kids in the evenings, you know that meeting the schedule is pretty difficult. So what the drop-in means is that they can come in whenever they want to, from 3 to 6 o'clock at our center. Your center may have different hours. They can come in whenever they want to, and their kid stays for an hour 2 times a week. And our system tracks how many times they've come. It tracks how long they've been in the center on each visit. And they do that through scanning in with their wristband. Their wristbands are color coordinated to whatever belt they're on. So that has eliminated a big hurdle for most parents that say, he's already in piano and soccer, but he really likes this, but, how are we going to fit it in our schedule? Well, you know what, Mom, it's okay. You can come in whenever you have time. We've even opened up Saturday from 10 to 2, so, if you want to come in on the weekend, that's available to you too. And that's a really big selling point for a lot of parents, especially ones that have kids that are in a lot of different activities. So that's the drop-in program in a nutshell. The other program that is getting more popular right now is the after-school program. What we do there is we have a bus that we've wrapped in a big, beautiful Code Ninjas logo. It's the mobile billboard is what I call it. But we go and pick up kids from the local schools. We start from the furthest one and just make a little loop around the neighborhood. It takes about 30 minutes to pick everybody up. We've arranged times of pickup with all the schools, and it was pretty easy, actually. We sent out flyers through the schools, through the kids here in Pearland. They get like little folders that go home. I'm sure that's consistent across the country. But we were able to add a flyer into their folders going home. I think we have 5 or 6 kids in that program right now. So we go and pick them up. We bring them back to the center. They have a snack, do some homework. After they do that, they're going straight into some kind of STEM activity. 2 days a week, they're going to do the same curriculum that's the drop-in program. So it's just like they're in the drop-in program, except we're picking them up and they're hanging out with us. Another 2 days a week, they're going to do something else, some kind of board game that's a STEM-based board game, maybe a robotics kit, something that they want to do, but it's STEM in the STEM world. After they do their STEM activity, they're going to basically be able to hang out and play with their friends until their mom and dad comes picks them up, usually around 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. So far, so good on this program. We don't separate them out from the drop-in students. They hang out with the drop-in students. It's just working. And we charge about $450 a month for that program, and that's just what our market would bear locally. The third option, of course, is our summer camp program. We had hundreds of students come in last summer, and that surprised us. We really did not expect that much attention from our first year being available in the Pearland area. But, the first couple of camps we threw were pretty slow, but the word got out really quickly, and it was extremely successful. And we're going to be doing that again. The way we do those is we have a half-day program and a full-day program. The half-day program starts at 8 and ends at 12. The full-day program starts at 8 and ends at 4. Both of those programs won't run concurrently. We just tell parents that if they want to hang out in the afternoon, if their kid wants to hang out and build games in the afternoon using Scratch or maybe Minecraft, they're welcome to do that. It's not like we're teaching double classes. This is the same class, just some kids stay a little bit longer so their parents have time to pick them up. That was $200 for the half day and $300 for the full day. And that was a very, very successful program. Now we're adding new programs to the summer camps all the time. One of the cool things that just happened recently was one of our franchisees had found a manufacturer for drones that was also codable, which is really cool. So we have now a coding drone class. We worked with the manufacturer, got some ridiculous pricing for our franchisees, and now you can order directly from that manufacturer as a franchisee and have it drop shipped straight to your center, and all the curriculum is available on their website. So it was a perfect kind of match made in heaven situation where we listened to our franchisees and they percolated an idea up, went through the right paths, and now it's available to everybody. We think that's going to be a super successful add-on to our summer camp program. So those are our three main programs. We also do birthday parties. We also do Parents' Night Outs, which is basically once a month. We just let kids come and hang out and play Xbox, and it's a free-for-all. But the parents get to go out and have a nice dinner and then come back and pick up their kids a little bit later. We use those kinds of things, the mechanisms like birthday parties and Mother's Day Out, not Mother's Day Out, sorry, the Parents' Night Out. We use those two things really as a lead driver, because what we're going to do is we're going to send them home with a card. We're going to send them home with some kind of material that tells them about, hey, you had a great time at this birthday party. Did you know that you can also come back twice a week and get into our drop-in program? Did you also know that we have a after-school program where we can pick your kids up from school? So that's a great way, for us to reach new people, because people bring their friends that are not necessarily members of Code Ninjas, and they just have a great time. So it's a great outlet for that. In just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and open up the call line so that you can ask me some questions. I didn't touch on a whole lot of different topics here, and there's no question that's off limits, other than one specific topic. I cannot talk about our top-line revenue at the center, other than what's in the FDD. I can't tell you what's a break-even point. I can't tell you, how many students we have. Anything that derives what our top-line revenue is, I can't go into, and that's not me. If it was up to me, we would just break out our P&Ls and we would all sign docs tomorrow because they look fantastic. But the fact is, the government has some rules, and we have to follow those rules. So the FDD says that in the first 54 days that we were open, we had $35,000 in revenue roughly, and I think 64 students. Check out the FDD for those specific details. I might have been off by a student or two there, but that's the gist. Anything other than that, I can't really talk about the numbers on the top line. I can help you through a lot of different exercises in the expense side, but if you want some real specifics on that, I recommend you reach out to Marty or Jeff. They really have honed in on what everybody's paying and how much the things cost better than me. If you haven't talked to Marty or Jeff yet, I highly recommend you reach out to them. You can do that by emailing Marty. It's MARTY at codeninjas.com. Marty at codeninjas.com. He'll get you in the pipeline. You can talk to Marty or Jeff and get things going from there. I'm going to go ahead and open up for the Q&A session now. No other questions are off limits there, other than the revenue side. And I want you to know that this isn't softball. You know, I don't have people on this call that are just giving me the easy questions or something. These are, as far as I know, they're totally random. So if something comes to mind, please do jump in. To ask a question to get put into the queue, you need to hit *6. That's *6. So go ahead and hit *6, and it'll virtually raise your hand, and I can answer your question. There we go. A couple of people here. Great. When you get on the call and I unmute you, if you could tell me your name and what city and state you're calling from, that'd be great.
My name's Nick Trevino from Plano, Texas.
Hey, Nick.
Hello there. You know, I've taken a tour of your Pearland facility, and you know, I was pretty impressed. And you know, the whole business model is very encouraging, very impressive for me. My question for you is, do you have a list, I don't know if it's something you're allowed to provide, of markets that have been already, I guess, sold?
Sure. Yeah. If you go on the website, I mean, we are selling them so fast, Nick, it's really hard to keep them all on the website as soon as it happens, but it's not going to be more than a few days off. The website, if you go to the locations page, it should have all of the sold ones. What you'll see there is, you'll see the Pearland location that's open, and then you'll see some that are in pre-sales. And then the ones that are underneath that, those are future openings. Those are all already sold.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, great. This is Greg from New York. Thank you for your introduction. It was informative. My question is, generally, what amount of square footage would you recommend is good for the location, and how many employees do you need for the average location?
Great questions. What we're seeing our franchisees do is somewhere in the 2,200 to 2,400 square feet. The FDD calls out a wider range because every market is different. If you're in New York City, 2,200 square feet is enormous, you know, for most people. So,
that's a little
so
hard.
We go down. Yeah, we go all the way down to 1,200 square feet for some of those markets, and all the way up to 3,200 square feet for some of the, you know, smaller markets that have a lot of space. So.
Okay.
As for employees, you probably want to start out with someone that's the director. That can be you, or you can hire somebody else.
Right.
You're going to need somebody dedicated in the classroom. That's not a full-time employee necessarily, but it's probably going to be some key person that you're okay with opening and closing the shop up on certain days. So assistant manager type, that's going to be the key person. But they're really dedicated in the classroom, building out the sensei's different schedules. And then you'll need at least one sensei to start. That sensei is going to be a $10 an hour. Well, down here it's a $10 an hour, kind of like a kid in high school. I don't know if kids in high schools will get out of bed in the morning for $10 in New York, but down here we can get away with that. So that's basically it. I don't think it takes much more than that for the beginning. And then as you grow, obviously you're going to expand your sensei group. We have a bench of probably 15 different kids that work in the dojo. Those kids could work anywhere from 2 to 10 hours a week. It ranges wildly, you know, but we want to keep a large bench just so that, you know, they're graduating high school and going off to college. They're, you know, they're just kids, you know, they're 18 to 21-year-old kids. So their ability to show up on time is variable. So,
how long do you think it would take to train your average employee? Not the manager type, more like the sensei type, or the
the great news. Yeah, the great news there is the senseis are basically just going to go through the curriculum ahead of the students. We're working on right now a certification process for the senseis, so they'll be certified at different belt levels. but no matter where they're certified at or where they go, they can help out at any level. That's because this is all self-paced. So the kid comes in, they pick up a book, they open up their computer, and they just pick up where they left off. And the senseis are really just there for getting over the hurdles,
right.
getting them past a roadblock. And what is kind of difficult for a 7-year-old is usually pretty easy for a 17 to 27-year-old. You get up to my age at 37, and it might get a little trickier. I don't know, but I think most adults at any age can probably help the kids out with just kind of basic logic skills.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so what we do is we make sure, to answer your question directly, it usually takes them about a week or two to really get through enough material to be super useful, but we start them out on day one helping kids, just because after we tell them how to help kids, the do's and don'ts of the classroom, and maybe make them watch a couple of videos that we have set up, we let them get going pretty quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Jake Wayman from Wichita, Kansas. You had mentioned a little bit about retention rate. So how long is the average tenure of a student of what you guys have seen that they'll stay within, the curriculum and then, go off to other things? Because it's like with piano lessons, a kid may do it for 6 months and say, yeah, it's kind of fun, but I'm going to move on. Like, what's the average time frame that you see them in the dojo?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's just do some comparative analysis so that we're all on the same page. Places like Kumon or Sylvan or Mathnasium and those kinds of places, the typical kind of after-school education environments, their averages run anywhere from 6 to 8 months on average for those facilities. What we're seeing is that the majority of our people are staying longer than that. It's hard to say right now what our retention rate is exactly because we've not run a full year through the center, but we have a large percentage of our population that started with us now rolling into Greenbelt, right on their track. So I don't want to give you an average month of the number of students have stayed because I don't think we've had enough time to really make those numbers happen. But what we are seeing is that the fall off is extremely low. The kids really enjoy what they're doing when they're there, and the parents like it too.
Well, and one thing too, real quick, is a hurdle can be like that generation, the Z generation or whatever they're calling that generation now too. It seems like whenever they face a hurdle or face a problem, they almost want to stop doing it. And say it gets tough. They get tough through it, and it's like, this is getting really hard. Have you guys faced that yet, where they kind of are contemplating, man, this is really hard, and I don't want to do it anymore?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a generational problem, but I think it's a 7-year-old problem. I think that you tell kids it's going to be fun, and you tell kids that they're building their own games, they kind of think, oh, it's just like playing Nintendo or something. Well, it's just, and so we have to set them up for success. We go into it letting them know that failure is not a negative thing in programming, that we try new things all the time, and like a lot of it's just not going to work, and that's okay. And so if we go into it with the right attitude and kind of start them out on a page of setting their success bar differently than maybe they've ever heard before, I think that's very helpful. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, that does.
So I think we get that. We get over a lot of those natural kind of early defeatist problems like that. And another thing is we start them off on a path that is pretty easy to beat the white belt, and so they get that pat on the back praise moment that a lot of kids, believe it or not, a lot of kids even today, they don't ever get anybody that tells them, hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, you're super smart. Did you know that? Just that kind of simple praise goes a long, long way with a lot of kids because, frankly, they just never hear it. That's sad, but true. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It does. I mean, I think it's just it's going to come down to each individual child, and it's kind of like, for an example, I coached football for a little while, and so it's motivating the kids as they come to practice every time, just pumping them up and really creating that good atmosphere for, team building and those sort of things. I mean, I see a lot of value behind this. It's absolutely.
Sure. And they're going to get in there and they're going to start playing with their friends and they're going to start meeting new friends at the place. So they get together and they start building games together, and it becomes pretty quickly it becomes bigger than just what they're doing. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, and a quick question I thought, well, I got you too, is all the marketing side of it. There in Pearland, how have you guys been marketing? Is it like building relationships with local PTAs or local schools, or or really what's been like kind of the biggest bang for your buck?
It's it's unquestionably the Facebook marketing. It's not even close. We obviously do a lot of the events. We have trunk or treat events, fall festival and all the spring festivals and everything around here. We are blessed with really great outdoor activities in our area for most of the year. And we participate in all of that. There's no doubt about it. We're super advocates for being community involved. But the direct drivers, that aren't just brand awareness event kind of stuff, the direct drivers are going to be Facebook and Google AdWords advertising, and it's highly effective.
Thank you very much. That's good.
Cool. All right. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, my name is Mina. I'm calling from Atlantic City, New Jersey. I noticed you have a lot of locations up in North Jersey you're about to open. I'm just wondering what kind of population are you targeting? As you know, Atlantic City is in detriment right now, and I'm hoping to open something like this to show hope in the community.
Okay. So I'll just be full disclosure, I am not a territory guy. I don't know exactly where all the circles are drawn and everything like that. That's definitely a Marty and Jeff question. Generally speaking, we look for affluent areas with high populations of kids from 5 to 15. We break it down into that bucket only because that's what the census people do. So we don't have an exact 7 to 14 bucket, but if you get into 5 and 14, and we know some demographics for that area, it's highly likely that it's going to be able to support a code ninjas.
Sorry, finish.
Sure. We have a couple of markets that would have been on the edge case of what we would have allowed that we are now evaluating to make sure that our initial kind of theory of what was required makes sense. So if you're in a smaller market with maybe a lower income and you don't know right now whether that's going to work, it might behoove you to wait a little bit and see if some of our smaller markets work out, and how it goes. We realize that it's not the right time for every single market right now. We need to do a little bit more digging for some of the smaller markets.
And what's the initial startup cost for this?
All that information is in the FDD. I believe it ranges from about $100,000 up to about $225,000. That includes the $20,000 franchise fee. But you really need to dig in. Those numbers in the FDD, that's for an 1,800 square foot facility, and it uses our actual data that we pulled off of opening the corporate centers. So, and we're doing a lot of feedback. We'll definitely be updating that again in April. But when all new FDDs for all franchises go out in April, we'll be updating it every single year as we get more data. But every market's going to be a little bit different. Use that as a guide, not as an absolute, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, this is Greg again from New York. Just two questions. One is, do the children actually end up learning a specific programming language? And what are the parties generally like?
Yeah, let me answer the last question first there. The birthday parties are basically a free-for-all. We put out robotics kits. We put out a few computers. We hook up a couple of Xboxes. Let them just go to town, and the kids love it. I mean, it's the party that they were looking for. Parents can bring in pizza. We have a kitchen in ours, so they can put the birthday cake in the fridge and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Just accommodate the good time, right? I mean, we're not trying to make this something it's not. It's not an education experience in part. We do hand out, now we have a small kit, robotics kits, that we are able to kind of upcharge the per kid as a upsale. Like we have the $25 kit option or the $35 kit option if you want everybody to go home with a robotics kit. So that's kind of cool. Some little different variations in there on that front. Now, your first question is a little more technical, and so what I would say is, right now everything is JavaScript as much as it can be, and blocks as an introduction to just basic concepts. We are not going to be stuck on a single technology or language, though. For example, when they get into Roblox, nobody's done it yet, but when they get into Roblox in the blue and purple belt, they use a special language called Lua, so they'll have to pick up some of the Lua language and understand how that works. But by that time, our goal here isn't to get them to be JavaScript masters or C# masters or whatever. Our job here is to really make them think like a programmer, right? And so if we're doing our job right, we're changing the way that kids solve problems, not teaching them the facts and syntax, only teaching them the facts and syntax of a specific language. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
A great programmer, I'd like to think I was a great programmer years ago, can pick up a new language over the weekend. I remember being on a gig one time, and he said, "Who knows Silverlight?" This was years ago, obviously. And I said, and somebody said, "I think Dave knows Silverlight." And I said, "I don't know Silverlight." He's like, "Well, you just became our Silverlight expert." And so that weekend I had to go home and read a book. And on Monday morning I was in a meeting, because I know the concepts. The concepts don't change between languages.
I see, right, sure. And is there much need for the center to be open in the morning hours? You have children that come in the morning hours?
We're not open for business for kids to come in during the morning hours. We do have the director is there during the day, and that's because there's a lot of follow-up to do. Every phone call we're on is trying to schedule a tour, and every tour is trying to convert into a student. So we have a lot of calls to make, a lot of emails to send, a lot of follow-up to do, making sure the center is clean, doing scheduling and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of activity going on during the day that is not necessarily related to kids being edutainment events.
Sure. So the peak hours of actual use would be what time generally?
In our facility, it's 3 to 7, but I know a lot of people are using their facilities differently. For example, some people already have homeschool groups that are coming during the day once a week and that kind of stuff. So you do have some variety and flexibility there. But our facility is definitely the most busy during the afternoon, 3 to 7 every day.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Good morning.
Hi, this is Dhaval. Hi, this is Dhaval. I am from actually Roswell, Georgia, Atlanta. So I have a couple of questions. I saw on FDD that the cost is between $100,000 to $230,000. So will that include the initial 3 months of expense to run the center?
Yeah, yes, it does, because you're not going to have 100% of your expenses out the door. In the first few months, you're going to make some money, right? So it's not exactly, you don't take your expenses and multiply by 3. You get me? You're going to make some money during those first 3 months of business.
Right.
So,
right.
And hopefully
right,
you negotiated your lease. It will help, as much as we can to negotiate your lease through one of our preferred vendors will especially, so that you get a few months of abated rent. So that really helps you get, and that's one of the biggest expenses for anybody to get started. So we want to get you free rent for those first few months so that you can really get your feet under you.
Okay. My next question is, so I received few documents from Marty last week. So the weekly fees which we charge for the kids, will that vary, depends on the belt or the age group?
So we charge a monthly fee for the kids. There's no weekly fee that I'm aware of. So, but
yeah,
the month,
just dividing that back into weekly. Yeah, let's go by monthly. That's fine.
Yeah, monthly fee in both the after-school program and the drop-in program. It does not change. We don't change it based on who's coming. We make sure that, and everybody starts at white belt, just so that you know. We don't start people in the middle or at the end if they claim to know something. And the reason is we want to make sure they have a foundational understanding. We're going to go very deep into programming by the end of this program with them. And if they don't have the foundation set properly, they're going to be, sinking pretty soon. So we want to make sure that they have the foundation set properly. Now that means that some kids come in and they're very familiar with Scratch and already gone through some summer camps and stuff, and they breeze through white belt in about 3 weeks, But you know what? They get stuck really quickly in yellow belt. We haven't seen anybody come in and just breeze through those. So everybody thinks, everybody comes in with a different level of knowledge. We start everybody at white belt. Everybody pays the same amount, and it's working.
Okay, so each belt level, even they after white belt, they grow further, the fees doesn't change.
That's right.
Correct. Okay. So my last question is, did we think about if any kids wants to move from one ninja center to another?
Yeah, so that's going to be, we do not have reciprocity, so we will accommodate moves if they're moving across the country or something like that, and they want to keep track of where they were. Obviously, there's some money to be exchanged there, whether your center you're leaving. If you paid in full for a year and you're moving after 6 months, there's going to be a refund involved, and then you'll just pick up wherever you're going to once you get there.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Anything else? All right. Great questions. Hi.
Hey, Jake Wayman here again. Sorry. Wanted to ask a little bit about, do you guys have any involvement with the adults, like their actual parents wanting to do some things with their kids that kind of have a bonding time around this, or anything like that? Do you offer something that allows them to collaborate together?
Sure. Some of the franchisees are doing parent tech education, which is kind of a 30-minute jam session on a Saturday or Sunday, so that parents can understand some kind of idea of what their kids are getting into here. Also, we've got I don't want to make any announcements or anything, but we're rolling over some ideas about maybe like arcade kits that we can build, like a parent-child day where they come in almost for the full day on a Saturday or Sunday or something, and they can build their own little sit-down arcade kit. There's a few different projects online that we've seen. We're working with some manufacturers to get some stuff like that going, and that'll be just fun activities that can get the parents involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah. Definitely on the agenda. It's just a matter of time and energy put into it.
Hi, this is Greg again in New York. The actual teaching that takes place, would you say it's more in an automated fashion? The children are learning through the computer or through a video, or is it more didactic from a teacher that's there?
It's definitely not. It's not lectoral, if that's what you mean. It's certainly
right.
It's very self-taught. They have a book that they read out of and go kind of step by step through. And as they progress through the program, the book gives them less and less help, basically, right? So they kind of give, like, here, try this on your own, and then they can flip to the back of the book whenever they need to have the solution. So.
Right.
It's trying to get them weaned off of help, basically, right?
So the teacher is really just to kind of help them if they're in a tough spot that they're not catching, I guess.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And the curriculum just keeps them on the rails, right? It keeps them going in the right direction.
Right. Are they more, is it geared towards getting the child to work with, I'm sorry, I'm not really familiar with the blocks and how they work or the scratch, but is it more like individual, or the children are more taught to to make a game with other children?
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now, it's a pretty individualized track, but what I've seen is by experience is that you can't keep 10 kids in a room with building their own video games without it becoming a group activity. It's impossible.
Right.
They're going to be, hey, man, look at what I did over here. I bet you can't make it spin like that. And, they really feed off each other's energy in the classroom.
Okay. Then the last question was, generally, if you, for example, choose the drop-in program where you bring your child at whatever time, generally how much does that cost the parent to do something like that?
Yeah, at our center we have it at $225 a month, and then we give discounts if they'll commit or prepay. So if you commit to 12 months, I think it gets down to $199. If you if you prepay, our most popular program is the prepaid 6 month at $999. Which I think comes out to like $165 a month, but we get all the cash up front.
I see. Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, this is Shanette. I'm from Houston.
Hi.
Hi. Just a quick question about the fee again. I know that you stated that the fees are kind of flat rate and it does not change based off the belt change. But I did go into the Pearland facility and I spoke with Mona, I believe, and she said that the prices may change next year based off of licensing. So I just didn't know if that cost, the fee would be going up.
Well, the fees at every center are going to be variable from time to time. If you lock into a agreement with any one of our centers, but whether that's Pearland or any of them, they'll mind that agreement. So if you come in on month to month at $225, what we're doing right now, and that continues, and we don't have plans to raise those rates on existing customers. You get what I'm saying? So,
yes,
so next
I
year,
understand.
if you're a new customer next year, you may pay more than you did this year, but that's a real estate problem. We have more students, so we're running out of space or something. We may raise our prices to make sure, we
right. So that was a question. If you, of course, you will lock in the rates for the existing customers and give them that option to roll that over. But, is it a range in which you're looking at that could possibly go up, anywhere from $50 to $100 or $75? Is there
as a practice, as just a practice, we wouldn't release what our next phase would be, but it's always something more than it is today, right? I mean, that's
right.
We would never go down on our prices. We'd probably only go up as we get more kids involved.
Okay. That was it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. A lot of people come in to visit our center here in Pearland. It's exciting to see all the different people and interest levels. Houston has recently sold quite a few territories, and New York and New Jersey seem to be on fire still. So it kind of goes in areas, and that's not accidental. We have a top-notch digital marketing strategist that works for us, and we move into different markets and territories. So if you're interested in yours, know that we tend to sell out markets and territories fairly quickly. We'll be in a market such as North Carolina. I don't think we could squeeze in very many more in North Carolina, so we don't market there very long. So if you're seeing some excitement in your area, know that that's probably going to be pretty short-lived. Just with our growth rate, it's just they're selling out. So I'm not trying to push you. I never want anybody to join our organization if you're not ready for it. If you don't feel 100% in your bones that this is the right thing that you want to do, we need you to just wait. Just wait and figure it out. But if you do think this is something you want to do, the next steps from this call are typically to come to a Discovery Day event. We hold those every month, so it should be pretty easy for you to get scheduled on that. In order to come, you do need to be invited to one of those. So in order to come to one of those, we have a few requirements that we're just going to make sure that we're all on the same page, that you have your finances in order, that you've had a few different checks done to make sure that this is even a viable option for you. After you've done that, and we've gone through a few of those requirements, we'll go ahead and get you scheduled, and you can come, and it's a great day. The whole day is nothing but answering questions and making people understand what we're about, getting to meet the team. Everybody in our team is here typically, and if they're not here on site, we conference call them in so that everybody gets at least to meet them on the phone and talk to them, ask your questions. This year has been amazing. I think we have one more call this year for our executive call here, but when we started back in March selling territories and this concept, we thought we were going to sell 20 over the whole year, 20 different territories, and we're already over 100. I think it's 106 or something as of today. That's an amazing growth pattern, and we're going to continue that next year. We have no signs right now that we're slowing down. The markets that are opening are doing well. I'm not going to tell you that there's not any hiccups along the path, but we've ironed out a lot of different issues that came up. Nothing was like a showstopper. Everything was pretty small and easy to fix. So we have no indication that right now our growth is going to be stymied in any way. We're adding to our support team right now so that we can make sure that as we grow into next year, we have the people that you can call and talk to on the red phone, so to speak, any time of day that during our normal office hours that you need them. We're expanding offices because we're running out of space over here. It's just a really great and exciting time to be a part of Code Ninjas, and we hope that you take those next steps to do that. Like I said earlier, if you want to reach out and you haven't talked to either Marty or Jeff already, you need to get in touch with Marty. That's Marty at codeninjas.com, and he can get you set up, get you on the track, on the happy path as we call it. So I appreciate your time today. I know your time is valuable, that you have a lot of things going on, especially around the holidays. And I hope this was an informative time for you to get a lot of information, and just one of the learning channels that we've set up for Code Ninjas so that you can get more information in this early stage process. So appreciate your time. Have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and I look forward to talking to you in the future. Thank you.